Alrighty then.
Welcome to Outdoor Fun.
Good morning. Cheers. Just having a Coke. I love Coke. Especially in the morning. It's funny. I have coffee in the morning, and then I always have Coke with my breakfast. Something I've done for years. I used to drink a lot of Coke. When I was younger, oh my God, I didn't drink coffee. I just drank Coke, and I drink it all day. Anyway, now I just have one Coke a day. That's it. Anyway, a little bit of a different hunting video this week. I'm not sure if I'll get out in the woods or not. Um, well, I might. At the very least, um, I might do a little target shooting um, at the property. But I'm not sure if I'm going to go out hunting or not. But this week I wanted to talk about hunting without a pal, which is what I'm doing. And I'll give you the background, the backdrop on my current hunting situation and my history when it comes to hunting. So I grew up in New Brunswick, um, and I've told you before in my hunting videos that I used to go hunting with my uncle Chris and with my grandfather Bub, and that was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. So I basically, when I was, I think 15 or 16, maybe even 14, I took my hunter education course, and that included a gun safety course. Well, it was part of the course, and then you had to demonstrate gun safety at the end. And I got a hunter education little diploma, and then a separate gun safety card. And with that, I was able to hunt with my uncle um, and with my grandfather. Back then, I couldn't buy my own gun until I was 18, and I got what was back then called an FAC, a firearm acquisition certificate. So I got that when I was 18, and I bought my first gun. I bought a shotgun, a little 20 gauge shotgun, break break action, great gun, perfect for partridge. Later on, I bought a 22 semi-automatic 22, which was really fun for target shooting. I think I bought that used, and I might have bought it from one of my uncle Chris's friends. I forget. Chris might remember. And then later on, I bought a 444 Marlin, big bush gun, like a 30-30, but twice as powerful. So, but meant for short distance in the bush. Could take you down a moose with it. Great in my mind. So my uncle and my grandfather were both using 30-30s, and if I was going to deer hunt, I wanted to make sure that I had something that I knew would would kill the deer right away. I didn't want to have a deer suffering at all. So so I used to go mostly partridge hunting, but I would go deer hunting. And the one time that I had one in my sights, I couldn't shoot it. I was like, oh, I just couldn't do it. So from that time on, I basically just hunted small game, and I had a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. Then I graduated, and I moved to Ontario. So I come to Ontario and bring my guns. I have every intention to hunt in Ontario, and when I get here, they won't give me a hunting license. They said I needed to take the hunting course. I said I already took a hunting course. They said, okay, well, we'll let you challenge the test. So I'm like, okay, and they're like, well, this is the material. And I was like, holy smokes. Anyway, and I didn't even really even know where I was going to hunt. So I just kept putting it off, and then next thing you know, I've got kids. So I've got these guns in the house. So I decide um, I'm going to sell them. I'm just going to take them back to New Brunswick and sell them. And one of the other reasons that I did that is because back in '95, or maybe before then, Yeah, I think it was before then. Um, the government came out with a new possession only and possession and acquisition license that replaced the FAC. Um, and it was a big money grab, and there was a bunch of stuff in the government was saying, oh, the conservatives were saying we're going to abolish that, and the liberals are like, no, this is really important. Anyway, I ended up getting it anyway. Got the poll, registered my 3 guns, and then they had a limited time frame. You had to get the license every so many years. So I let it expire because in my mind the government was going to abolish it. But they never did. And then I got a letter from the RCMP saying I was in violation of this because I haven't re-registered my gun. So that was kind of the last straw. So I took my guns back to New Brunswick and I sold them. And I didn't really think too much about it. I was fine. But then later on in life, we get a cottage. I'm out here in Lanark Highlands. It's a great place to go hunting. My son starts to get interested in hunting. He takes the hunter education course. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to go hunting again. And then, so I log in and they actually accepted my New Brunswick hunter education because now everything's online. So boom, I was able to get my Ontario hunter license using my old credentials from New Brunswick, which was great. I didn't have to retake a test, didn't have to do a course, didn't have to do anything. So now I'm stuck. I don't have a pal. What am I going to hunt with, right? So in Canada, you can use an air rifle, right? But they're limited, right? They have a limit on the maximum velocity out of the muzzle, the foot per second. So it's under 500. And they have a maximum power, joules or foot pound of energy. And it's quite low. It's like 5.7 joules, which I can't remember. It's like I'll add a little conversion chart here. But it's very small. And if you look at different websites, it's like I took that hunting my first year, and I was always worried, if I see a partridge, right, is it going to be a good kill? Right? I might hit it, injure it, and it might, die, kind of a horrible death, which is not what you want, right? You want a humane kill. As a hunter, right, you don't want an animal to suffer. In Europe, they have different rules for air rifles, and in the UK, it's 12 foot-pound of energy. 12 or 20? 12, I think. And 12 foot-pounds of energy is a fair amount. I'll put some additional information here on foot per second, foot-pound energy, comparing Canada and some of Europe. In the States, they have no limit, so you can buy air guns down there. This is a 177 caliber. You can get the 22. You can get a 30. I think a 30. I have to look at the other one. There's a even higher up than the 22, and those are bigger pellets, right? So this gun here is a 177, and I've got 3 different weights. I've got a 7.9 grain, 10.5, and then I got a 14.2. That is a pretty big bullet. So that affects the speed and the foot-pound of energy on impact. So I think the way they limit these is based on a 7.9 grain, and it's under 500 feet per second. Now, the great thing about these guns is, well, this one here is a break action, but it has a cartridge, so I can load it with a number of pellets, which is fun. And it's great for target practice, and I'm sure it would be okay for partridge if it had more energy. Now, some people do what's called dieseling, and I'll talk a little bit about that after, and I'll show you what I've done in the past. And actually, I used a chronograph to do that, to do some measurements and some experimentations. And if you go online, you can actually see a bunch of people that have tried different things to increase the velocity, which also increases, your overall foot-pounds of energy, So that's my first gun that I got. And then, because I was doing research on foot-pounds of energy and all that stuff, I found this gun. This is my Umarex air javelin. It's an air bow. This thing is awesome, and I've talked about this gun before, right? It takes CO2, and it shoots up to 300 feet per second with a little bolt, with these bolts. Now these bolts only have a 50 grain field point on them, so I'm using 100 grain small game blunts. So the velocity will be a little bit less, but the foot-pound of energy is huge compared to this guy. This thing will easily take care of any small game. And actually, in the States, they use these. They hunt deer and boar with these. And they have a bigger one called the Air Saber, which is a big full-size rifle that shoots larger bolts, I think. Actually, it might be the same bolts. It might be larger. I forget. But I'll share some of that information as well, foot-pound of energy, and some of those details. So, what else? Well, obviously, in Ontario, you can get your hunter education, and if you don't have a PAL, you can hunt with a longbow, recurve bow, or a crossbow. So I have a recurve bow, and if you watched my video last week, I was having some trouble with it, but I realized why. I mean, this guide is just a velvety guide. It doesn't really hold the arrow very well. So I just bought some actual guides. So it's like a little plastic, and then you can basically stick it on. They're stick-on guides, and that'll hold the arrow in place. So I'm really looking forward to trying that. Now, I think I'll take this for some target shooting later on in this video at the property. And I think what I'll do is I'll add some tape here to make a proper guide. I think that'll make a big difference. So we'll see how that goes. Let me just kind of give you a so PAL, so possession and acquisition license. So you can I could go and get that, and then I have to take a course. And if you're interested in the course, that hunting store in Richmond, they offer it, and you can do it's either a 9-hour day, or you can do it over 2 days, 2 evenings, 5 hours each evening. And it does all of the gun safety. It gives you hands-on learning how to handle rifles and shotguns. And it has a cost, right? Then it has it could be almost up to between 6 months and a year before you'll get your PAL. Like there's it takes a certain amount of time for the PAL license itself to get issued to you, and then you have to take that and send that to the RCMP with a background check for a PAL application. And that process can take a long time. I've had some friends that it's taken almost a year. I've had some friends that have been lucky and they've got it in like 5 months, that whole process. But once you do that, you get your PAL, and you can go and you can buy a shotgun or a 22 or a 30-30 or whatever it is that you want to hunt with. So if you're hunting small game, a shotgun is perfect, and if you're just hunting partridge, like a little 410 shotgun is probably one of your best options. A 22 is a bit more powerful, or sorry, a 20 gauge is a bit more powerful. 12 gauge is probably a bit overkill, but a lot of people do use 12 gauge shotguns for partridge. And I'll want to tell you the difference in these guns, right, versus a 22 versus a 20 gauge. And I'll put some examples of the different foot-pound of energy and muzzle velocity of that as well. But right now, let me just show you each of my guns, just to give you an idea of what I'm using to hunt without a PAL. Stay tuned. Alrighty then. Hey, I forgot to mention that Yeah, in Ontario, they actually have what they call an outdoor card. And if you get your fishing license or your hunting license, you can get them added to this. So actually, mine expires at the end of this month. So I just renewed mine. So I got another 3-year small game hunting and 3-year conservation fishing. And I also keep my pleasure craft, my boating license in this. It's just a little small little wallet, and anytime I go fishing or hunting, I just take this with me. It has everything I need. It even has my insurance for my ATV and my boat registration, all that kind of stuff, and insurance. Yeah, all of that registration, insurance for boat and ATV. So anytime I'm out hunting or fishing, I take that with me. And I've been stopped, I think, over the years, twice boating and twice hunting. Actually, the very first day I went hunting out Ranger Road with my new air rifle. Two RCMP or OPP officers on ATVs pulled me over and asked for my PAL, and I'm like, oh, I don't have a PAL. And they're like, well, you got a rifle. I'm like, no, it's an air rifle under 500 feet per second. They're like, oh, cool. And they were like, is that a break? Like, does that one have like a cartridge? I'm like, yeah. This is uh, a blah 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 whatever. And the guy, I heard about these ones. And the guy was like, can I see it? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I showed him how it all worked, and I was doing some target shooting at the time when they drove in, and I was actually having a hard time hitting the target. And he's like, oh yeah, no, that's a good spot there, but try to, if you want to make sure you got a really good, lean up against the tree, lean right up against it, and you'll get a nice steady spot. Because I was trying to just boom. And I mean, I was shooting probably something about maybe 60 feet away, and I had like a little target maybe that big, and I was trying to hit in the bullseye, and I was just kind of just all over. Anyway, that little bit of a rest position, boom, I was able to hit bang in the bullseye. So I wanted to show you my guns, so stay tuned. Alrighty then, let me start with this baby right here. This is from Gammo. I forget the model. Shoot. Anyway, it's actually really nice. The scope, it's a fairly cheap scope, but it works really well. I can hit, and I've showed you in one of my earlier outdoor fun videos when I was exploring the property. I was shooting at those little metal targets, and yeah, so I was able to hit that no problem. This takes so it's a 177 caliber, .177. This particular one is 7.9 grains, a hollow point from Crosby. And these are really good pellets. And I have my chronograph. This thing is awesome. You can basically set this up and you shoot your pellet through this, and it'll actually measure the speed. So I've used this to kind of baseline how fast this gun is, and then I've also done some experimentation with these like in the past. I'm going to do some more of that. I did this, I was just looking at my notes back in November of 22, and I did experimentation with this 7.9 grain and also Crossman's 10.5 grain. So this, yeah. And as is, I was getting about 448, 440, 450. So this is under 500, and that's what I was getting, about 450 feet per second through my chronograph. And that was with the 7.9 grain. Then I started to experiment with different combustible materials. So I tried WD-40. I tried Vaseline. I tried Vaseline with WD-40 mix. liquid fire. I have not tried pellet oil yet. And I did see a video where pellet oil was used. I think it was pellet oil with Vaseline, but I haven't done that yet. I will do a future video where, I spend more time kind of playing around and seeing what's possible. And I'll use I bought these little cleaning pellets. They're basically like little cotton. I think they're made out of cotton. They're just like little, almost like a tissue that you can run through. So, or I could just clean it, but these are like a quick clean. You just load it in and you fire it through. And I didn't do that when I first did this experimentation. And I found that the residual liquid was causing some inconsistencies in my results. But I will tell you that I did have some interesting, successful shots. I had 700 feet per second multiple times with the WD-40. And one time I had over 1,000 feet per second. And I kind of just wrote some notes, but I know this is not that consistent because what I was doing, but it was definitely, you could tell that dieseling does work with this type of air rifle. And basically this rifle is a pullback. Okay. That loads up the cartridge here. It's an air displacement. And I'll have to look up exactly what that does. But it's, of course, now that I've loaded it, it's not a problem. Let me just take this cartridge out. There was nothing in this, but I'll just shoot it down, just the air. I'll let the air go. It's not good to do this, but I'll do it anyway. There's quite a pop there, so there's a lot of pressure there. So the way my understanding is, dieseling is based on the whole concept of a diesel engine that doesn't have a spark plug. It relies on the pressure causing that combustible liquid to combust. And actually, when you do the diesel, you can actually see some smoke comes out of the barrel. It's not a nice day out today, but tomorrow should be a little bit better. So I'm going to take all three of my I'll take this gun, my air bow, and my recurve bow out to the property, and I'm going to do some shooting, and I will show a couple of shots through my chronograph with and without. Well, I'll do it first without, and then I'll just put a little bit of WD-40 and just see what kind of results I get. I'm not going to do anything other than that. I think I'll do a later video, maybe next spring or summer when it's nicer out, where I can be outside, in nicer weather. And maybe I'll experiment with different mixtures to see if I can kind of come up with something more for experimentation. Certainly not something that I would use out in the woods hunting, because obviously that would be illegal, and if you were to get caught doing that, you would be basically in violation of your not having a PAL, because as soon as this gun shoots over 500 feet per second, it's considered a firearm that requires a PAL, and that's why they have these restrictions in place. I don't like these restrictions. I think Canada has limited that too low. I think if it were to match up with what they have in the UK, I think then that would be a lot better. I will show, I forget what I'm thinking it's like 800 feet per second and 12 joules. But I can't remember, but I will look it up and I will show it here. But anyway, that's my Gamo air rifle. Love this thing. I don't shoot it very often, but it is so cool. And it takes these little cartridges, you load them up, and every time you crack the barrel, it automatically loads it for you, and then you can shoot it. Anyway, let me show you my other guns. Stay tuned. Alrighty then. Now this is a great gun for small game. Great option. This thing I've showed you before from the box. So this is Umarak's Air Javelin, and this is basically shows you the feet per second and the foot-pounds of energy released from this gun with their standard arrow. So their standard arrow has a 50 grain tip, whereas I'm using two different types, and I'll show you the two types of it that I'm using, and then I'll also show you. So this is their standard tip right here, right? And that's just for, I have these so when I go target shooting, because that'll stick into, you know, the target. And then there's two different blunts that I use, and I'll share a screenshot, maybe here, of both types. This one is a lot less expensive than this one. This one is actually, it has some really nice aggressive little teeth. And then this one is more just a blunt. And then they have cheaper ones as well, which is just a blunt. I just liked having this extra amount of area, you know, in case you just kind of, if you hit it just not perfect, this thing still will easily take care of any partridge, because this thing has, like, we're talking, you know, with a fresh cartridge, like right now I'm using these 88 gram CO2 cartridges, and this one doesn't have a lot left in it. It maybe has 3 or 4 shots left, maybe 5. So, you know, that, you know, you can tell that's going to be down into like the 200 feet per second. And this blunt head is 50 grains heavier than what's on here. So it's probably going to be more like 170 something feet per second. But it's 100 grain bullet compared to the air rifle, which is a 7.9 grain. So that's why, like at 500 feet per second and a 7.9 grain, this is like 6 foot-pounds of energy. Whereas, you know, at 300 feet per second and 100 grain, this is over 50 foot-pounds of energy. Now, I don't think this will actually fire at 300 with 100 grain, but at 323 feet per second with a 50 grain, and the arrow itself is 120, so it's 170 grain. That's 39 foot-pounds of energy. I didn't mean to say 50, so 39. But I mean, 39 foot-pounds of energy, that's 8 times more power than what you get out of the little air rifle. And that's why, like, this gun in this air rifle, they use this in the States for hunting medium-sized game. So I think the way I'm using it with the larger blunt, I could get a smaller blunt that's more in line with the 50 grain, but this is more than enough to take care of a partridge. And I feel really comfortable using this. And the beauty of this gun is that I also have bought these cartridges that take the smaller CO2s. So I can plug this one in And once this larger cartridge is over, I'll probably just use these, because then I can throw in the smaller CO2s, which I carry. Right? I think there's a little bit left in this one, so I want to try to. I don't know if I'll do it, if I'll finish them off when I go to the property or not. I'll try and finish the CO2 off of this one, and then maybe take a couple shots, and then maybe show you how how you can just add another one in. But this one's good for like 30 shots, and these are only 18. What are these? 18 grams? 18 grams? Let me see. Fine print. These ones are 12, so 12 grams, right? So two of these is 24, right? And this is 88, so not quite 4 times. So, you know, you're gonna get three to 4 shots out of each of these. So kind of perfect for if you just want to go hunting for the day. You just, you know, you could just basically pop. You leave one that's already been emptied. You just put a fresh one in. Boom, you get 3 or 4 shots out of it. Or if you put both in, you get like 8 shots out of it, roughly. So I think that's pretty impressive. So these things are great. What else do I have to say about this gun other than it's amazing? I've told the story before, when I just was using my air rifle, and I'm out on this trail, and I come upon this little mud area, and I see this big bear print, and I'm like, ooh, I guess there's a bear in the area. And then I see little bear prints, and I was like, oh man, this is probably not where I want to be with a little air rifle that would have a hard time, you know, killing a partridge, let alone scaring a bear. So at that time I was like, wow, you know what? If I'm going to be hunting out in these woods, I need to carry bear spray. So I've been carrying bear spray ever since. So if you're going to be hunting without a pal, in Ontario or anywhere where there are bears, the chances of having an incident with a bear is very, very rare. But I would rather, you know, be ready than be in a position where, you know, I was potentially in a really bad situation. So I've never had to use the bear spray. I probably never will need to, but if I need to, I have it and I carry it with me. Even when I just take a walk around Ben's property to go check the cameras, I always wear it. I mean, bear spray is very effective on bears, but also, you know, on coyotes, potentially wolves, cougars. If you ever run into any of those kind of animals, you don't get a lot of spray, but it's nice to know that you have it. I do feel a lot more comfortable carrying this though, because this has quite a bit of power to it. And that gets me to my third hunting weapon. And let me show you that one. Stay tuned. Alrighty then. Let's talk about my recurve bow. So this is a great option for hunting. It's definitely challenging to shoot. I'm thinking about buying a crossbow, but I'm hesitant. I really like my little air crossbow, and my crossbow, my air one, you know, with fresh CO2 is 300 feet per second. And you can get crossbows that also shoot at 300 feet per second, and I think up to like 500 feet per second, where I think the sweet spot is about 400 feet per second. And those are definitely powerful, very powerful. The only problem with the crossbow is that once you load it, right, you can't just shoot it empty. So I think a lot of people, what they do is they buy these small little bolts, and they're just for shooting it after it's been loaded. and they just have these big rubber things. You just shoot it in the ground, they just bounce, right? Because you don't want to be shooting your real bolt. You'll just ruin it. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't bought a crossbow. I bought the recurve bow because I just love the idea of it. I'm not the best shot. I did do some target shooting earlier in the year with the bigger target that I have at Ben's place. It's his target, his bow target. And that day I was hitting it really well. Last week I went out and my shoulder's definitely tender. And I was having a hard time pulling it back, but I was also having a hard time just keeping it, the arrow from moving on me. And I'll demonstrate that, right? So this arrow, kept going like this on me. So I tried to hold it with my finger just to line it up. But what I need to do is, and I'll show you a little bit better, is this guide here is not really much of a guide. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. It's it really needs something here. So I'm gonna put a little bit of tape here to kind of hold it in place for tomorrow's shooting. Hopefully that'll be better. But I've ordered these plastic stick-on holders, and they just have like a little piece of plastic that comes out, and the arrow just stays right on them. So that works out really well. I did buy this arrow holder. It's a bit of a pain. It kind of gets in the way. So I'm just getting used to that as well. I don't know if I can mount it differently. I didn't really like the way it felt in my hands. So I might just go back to using my carry pouch. But we'll see. But this thing is actually really good. Now, the only problem with this bow is it's 40 pounds. It's a 40-pound bow. And that's a lot of, that takes a lot of strength to pull that back. The problem is, in Ontario, you cannot hunt with a bow under 40 pounds. So even though I'm hunting small game, I need to use a bow that, is basically rated for large game. Like people deer hunt with 40-pound bows. So it's a bit of a challenge getting it back, and that's what I was having trouble with last week. I think tomorrow I'll have a little bit more luck, because last week I was trying to work on the pulling it back, but also keeping that arrow steady. I think if I fix that problem, hopefully tomorrow will be good. Anyway, I do need more practice with this, but it is fun. And it's not expensive. So that's the beauty of this option, is you could go hunting right away with a recurve bow for $100. And actually even cheaper. Like this is a fairly nice bow. I think it was like $150, $170. You can spend $500, $1,000 on recurve bows or long bows, and then you can get in compound bows as well. And they have a pretty good range of price as well. But for basic hunting, this is actually a really good option as well if you don't have a PAL. The next part of this video will be at the property where I'll be doing some target practice. So, alrighty then, I've got my my pellets. I'm gonna try with, and then or without, and then with. I got this new WD-40 stick. That's kind of interesting little thing to use. Anyway, I'll stick that right here for a second, and let's get. Let me turn on my little camera. Alrighty then. That'll hopefully, I don't know if it's going to be able to see it, but I'm going to try to record the velocity. I'll just say it out loud though. All right, I'll put my pellets there. It is cold out. Put my gloves down for a second.
All right, I'll just load. Let me just I'll throw 3 bullets in, I think. 3 pellets in. 1. These little cartridges are pretty cool. 2. Oh, I hear a little bird. 3. Actually, I'll do 4. 4 pellets. 4 of each. 4. There. Okay, there's 4. I'm gonna put that in there. Like this. 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 Yeah, like that. Does that load it? I think that's right. Anyway, let's see. I don't think that saw it. Try another one here. $4.12. Can't really read very well. Should have brought my glasses. I think that's 408. Anyway, this should be the last one. $403, I think. Now the problem is it is cold out here, so let me prep. Let's get 4 of them ready with the WD-40. What I'll do is I'll take this WD-40 stick. It's so cold, I decided I'm not going to be shooting my my air gun. The CO2 it's too cold for the CO2, and my shoulder is really too sore for the bow, so I'm not going to bother with the bow today. So anyway, let me grab 4 of these. I've never used one of these WD-40 sticks, but it should, in theory, just put, oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, it just adds a little bit. So let me grab my thing. I'll just put these here for just a second. Or actually what I'll do is I'll put them into this cup. So there's the first one. There's the second one. And this is just putting just a thin layer of WD-40 in the cup of the pellet. And I'll put a little bit more when I add it in. There. Okay, let me get my thing. It's cold. Now I'm not sure if the cold is going to make a difference on this experiment or not, but we'll see. I'll put a little bit more. And then I'll put it in here. Grab the other one. Same thing, put a bit more. Put it in. But I mean, we're gonna see if this works. Grab this one. Let's see if my fingers don't fall apart here. It is cold. It's still minus 12 out right now. So it was minus 21 overnight at the cottage. It was cold. Grab that last one out of here. Put a bit more of the WD-40. And we'll see. This is a good experiment. See if it makes a difference. Okay. All right, let's see. 440 something. $5.75. That was a big difference. $5.35. My last one. I can't quite read it. I'm gonna get my glasses. Stay tuned. All right, I got my glasses. Yeah, it didn't record. That's why. It was like really small. But yeah, 575, 539. That's awesome. All right, I'll stop this recording. How do I do that? Well, it looks like this one shut off. Ah, that camera shut off, but I'll show you on the video here. Stay tuned. Alrighty, so it doesn't always record. So how do I go? Okay, here you can see the numbers, and I think I can arrow. Is it up? There. This is where we started. I started with the first one. Didn't capture it. It was 25. Then 411, 408, 403. Then 441. 575, 539, 428, and then 126. One of those isn't right. But anyway, you can see the difference between 410 and then 575. So yeah, dieseling does work. Pretty cool. Anyway, stay tuned. Actually, no, that's it for this hunting video, hunting without a pal, because I'm not going to do the shots with the air bow and the my recurve. So stay tuned. Alrighty then, that was a fun little experiment. I haven't shot that gun in a while, so anyway, it's nice to see it worked okay. Nice to see the chronograph was working. Yeah, gives you an idea. Obviously, that's not something that you're allowed to do. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt, what you can do and what you can't do. But without a PAL, you're not supposed to shoot an air rifle faster than 500 feet per second. Anyway, but dieseling definitely does help. So it's kind of an interesting experiment. There's lots of these online. If you do some more research, you'll see some other people that have shown it. And anyway, that's it for this week. See ya! See ya! Thanks for watching. See ya.